It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. You may think we're about to cook some meth or do other clandestine secret operations. That's not really the case. Today we're gonna do some fiberglass. Once I slip into something a little less comfortable, we're gonna get on our protective gear. We're gonna look at this fender here. We're gonna set up some stuff. I put this fender on with a bunch of screws, a bunch of shims, and some steel framework, but that needs to be improved on because it is currently wedged off of the tire and we can't roll it anywhere. So ideally, we probably mock up everything and glass it together in one shot, but we don't really have that option because I gotta roll this truck. So today we're going to explore how I'm going to remedy all these slices I made, all these screws I put in, and offer it some rigidity so the tire will remain independent of that fender without the shims. To that, I say, all protective things are now in place. The air is cool and clear, and I guarantee you, it's not gonna stay that way for very long. Fiberglass is a messy situation. I'd like to say do not try this at home, but you actually should. It's pretty rewarding. Check this out. So in the last episode, to increase the radius of this fender inner diameter, I had to slice it in all these ways. You know, it was small like that, and I had to stretch it wider to fit the big semi-truck tire. So if I take these shims out, everything's just gonna flex and fail. So I have to bevel this. I have to dig in with the grinder and then re-glass it on every cut open piece. Then also here, all these screws are raised above the surface. So I have to bevel this down as well. Clean this with acetone, and then I'm gonna fiberglass right into this piece of steel. Fiberglass doesn't really stick to steel that well, but I'm feeling like by having a good bond here and just bring it down so that it oozes in between all those tack welds, it'll offer it some strength. And then kitty hair on top for a good blend. We're definitely gonna be time-lapsing this because it's a long process. I'm gonna have the mask on. Not gonna be easy to talk. So step one, get the grinder, clean the heck out of all this. I'll see you on the other side. All right, I got this all ground out. It's looking decent. Just setting this up right here so we have a little bit of a better arrangement with the height of these two. This one was sagging in. So you see it's ground straight through. So we got plenty of room for the resin to fall in between these slices, and we're gonna put the fiberglass mat on top and then grind it back. Ground all this down as well. Washed it with acetone. And then on the table back here, I got a little mixing station, and I'm just gonna start bringing it and slinging it. Bring it and sling it. Follow me? Music, please. Okay, so what you see here, on par with my typical fiberglass prowess, nothing fancy, nothing technical, quick mix, and a mediocre application. This is the first layer, so just to get it in place, I just put it on really wet so that resin goes down in between the slices. I pushed the mat up under that bar here, and then I brought it into the bevel, keeping it nice and juicy. For the first run, I just like to leave a lot of resin. I feel like letting it creep a little bit under the fender in all the nooks and crannies is a better first run. This is all going to get sanded and then a nicer application. Probably lay the mat in place and then pat it down with a brush as I work the resin into the glass material. But a lot of drips. There's some that got on the tire. Don't kid yourself into trying to clean that up right now. I mean, you could if you got acetone and stuff, but I'm gonna let all this dry. Then I'm gonna wire brush it off. It's gonna be fine. Anything that's dry, picking up the juice and saturating everything. And I'm gonna let that cure probably for a couple hours, if not overnight. I didn't add a heck of a lot of catalyst to this because I want to set up, but I don't want it to fire off too quick and be brittle, especially with the first coat going in, because the majority of this is gonna get sanded back. So again, just trying to, once all this is cleaned up, the only fiberglass that'll be left is just inside of all of these scour marks, because you can't attach it to the gel coat and expect success. You got to attach it to the other fiberglass down inside. So, looks like a big pile of stuff right now, but just like everything, you got to refine it. So, let's see what happens on the next round. I'm going to do a quick cleanup. I don't get too crazy with this stuff, you see. Clean operation, a little bit on the fingertips, because I don't like wearing gloves. That's just my preference, because the gloves always end up tearing, and then you end up with pools of resin saturating your fingernails. And if you know me, I like my pedicure on point. So that's the first round. See you on the flip side. Well, that was eventful. Here we are, 2 hours later, and it's definitely kicking off. It is about 75, 80 degrees in here. And I didn't put a lot of catalyst in, and the material is kind of old. That's why I was cautious with only putting on 1 layer. But it is kicking off, like it is hardening, but it's still a little slimy, especially where the big drips are. So knowing what I know, we're not going to use the material that's on the black part here. So you can see it's wrinkling up all the paint. Do you get this? This is why I cut all of the what I thought was gel coat. I think it's actually auto paint or some other paint. Turns out fiberglass resin is a pretty good paint removal tool. Look at this. Like it blobbed up. It activated all of this black paint. So that's actually the paint of the car or whatever it was painted with. It's not the gel coat. So the whole thing is just really ugly right now. But that's okay, because I know time is going to harden that. But since this is just turning into a gooey mess, that's a reaction. Painters know this, at least myself as a painter knows this. Sometimes materials aren't compatible. So whatever this was painted with is not compatible with this amount of chemical reaction. It's just getting nasty. All we care about is the repair. And in here, this is hardening up perfectly. So what I'm going to do, since what I was worried about is putting on too much material, it's going to fall off. You're going to walk away and you're going to have a big pile of fiberglass on the floor. So this is tacky. It's like a tack coat in paint, if you will, right? You got the material applied to the surface, but now because each of these are divoted, I got small strips of fiberglass mat. So I'm going to put extra catalyst in this mix, and I'm just going to apply small Band-Aids in here. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to let it sit overnight. But one of the reasons I took the couple-hour break was I got a new work van. Yes, we drove and picked it up. So I'll give you a little show on that. It's nothing elaborate. Everybody stay calm. But I got some ideas. All right, so the vehicle I decided on is the 2020 Chevy Express van. Here in the USA, it's a standard for tradesmen, craftsmen, general deliveries. Used to have some signage on the door here. I got it secondhand from the second owner. Belonged to some kind of a fleet. 59,000 miles. The bigger engine, I think it's 6.0 V8. Towing capacity. Long wheelbase. No windows. Nothing inside. I loved that it had this divider because if you're, wow, it's sunny. Welcome to Arizona. There we are. That's why I got a white van also. It had to be white. Reflect the sun. I'm going to insulate this ceiling as well. But I wanted this divider because if you've ever been in a van and a crash, everything that's in the van that's not attached goes that way, especially a front end collision. It could really take you out. It could create a mess. So this is cool. That's why they put them there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave all this business, because one thing this divider does is it keeps the air conditioning and the heat on that side of the wall where you want it while you're driving. I'm going to cut open a cool little door to go through, and we're going with a pirate ship theme interior. Now, I'm not introducing a new project. Trust me. This is going to be dribs and drabs inserted into the videos. We're not opening another chapter. We don't need any more projects. But a guy like me, I cannot keep my brain still. And also, I really like that the body was very straight. You got a couple little scuffs in the paint, but that ain't no big thing. And I found, because I've been shopping for these, right? When you have a van that was used like by plumbers or electricians, and they have conduit or tubes on racks in the vehicle, because that's why I got this also. I don't want anybody stealing tools out of the back of my pickup truck. What I was getting at is when the doors get slammed and there's material sticking out, there's like little dents all over the place, especially in the back doors and in the walls of the van. So, you know, black paint job would reflect differently. But this one, I think, it was a fleet van. I think it was full of cardboard boxes, which is awesome. So being that it's a fleet van, it's got no windows. It's going to be dark inside. So I definitely want to put a roof vent like a camper, but I want to put some rear lights, skylight type things. Not a rear window. A rear window in these vans are like this. That's what this embossed shape is. I have these. Yeah, they're a little kooky. I bought them for the mini trike, but they are actual sailboat porthole things. So I'm definitely going to use these. Like, I'm not rushing into anything. I'm exploring the options. Like, there could be hard alien eyes. There could be horizontals. They could be low. They could be high. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going to cut a hole in the back wall of this van and put these in. Down here, I don't think so. Up here, definitely. The idea is, you know, I got lights inside. They come on automatically, but, you know, if the van is shut off, we'll have a vent in the roof, then we'll have some light broadcasting in there with the side door open or these cracked. You know, it's a little feature. It's custom. And they don't call me full custom Ian for nothing. So again, we're not starting a new project. We're talking about things. I like the van. Maybe we'll put a free candy sign on it. I don't know. The possibilities are endless. Cargo van, heck yeah. I think it's going to be a good unit. Got the tow hitch on order. We're going to finish our move, and we're going to pick away at this in small segments throughout the next, I don't know, 10 years or so. Either way, it's an interesting story. Hope you enjoy it. Got a new work truck. We're back on the road. Let's continue on. We'll see you next. Okay, well, this definitely looks sloppy. It's in line with my standard technique. Never claimed to be a fiberglass pro. So, that being said, we're going to let all this sit now. I think I'm actually going to turn the cooler off in the shop and let it get up to temperature. Instead of being cool, we want the fiberglass to kick. So there's a little bit more catalyst in this batch of resin. And then I just want it to all seal and dry. That way it's crispy when I come back to cut off all these defects. So I'm going to turn off that AC. But for now, that is today's fiberglass story. Yeah, quite a mess. One thing I know, once that gets cut back, it's going to be okay. All right, well, to wrap all this up, I couldn't couldn't just walk away from this video without you seeing what I was talking about. So it's the next day. I let this sit overnight. I opened the doors so it got warmer in here, and everything's set up. So yeah, we had all this junk, and there's still, like, this happens with a reaction with paint. This paint is still super gooey, so I got some 36 grit. I got a slower machine than the little grinder. It's got a variable speed, so I'm just gonna try to knock this off, then examine, then reglass it, because not everything goes as planned. You got to deal with the curveballs all the time. Yeah, so it's really starting to clog this up. That's what I was worried about. So let's just carry on till it stops cutting. It's just smearing that, but it's clearing all this off, so that's good. Yeah, that's working. All right, so we got about half of it with one disc. This thing is getting pretty hot too, so let's just retire that, grab another one. So I took all that black top coat off because that's trouble. Still gonna have to do more work on this, but at least now we have a good foundation, reasonably in shape, and none of that blob. So heck yeah, let's carry on next time. See you then.